What season are you in? Do you have proof of concept? Do you have something that can go out there where, there's a market for it and you know that people actually want it?
Welcome to the Spear and Clover podcast, the show where military mindset meets the spirit of the puppy. I'm your host, Jason Skisick, the entrepreneurial evangelist, and each week I bring you the stories of visionaries who see the world as it could be and can't help but take action. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and review. This is the best way to stay in the loop when we drop new content. Often we start a journey with one destination in mind, and somewhere along the way we realize that we're actually headed to a new, unexpected, and more interesting place. Michael Gonzales is one such case. What began as him building an online fitness coaching program developed into a discovery that he has a unique genius in taking entrepreneurs' vision, experience, and coursework and developing it into an online course far greater than even the owner could have imagined. He and his team are experts at building beautiful, immersive, and compelling programs that exemplify the vision of the businesses they serve. In this conversation, I try to uncover the secrets behind taking someone else's dream and bringing it to life. Please welcome my friend, Michael Gonzales. Michael, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing really good, man. I just got back from jiu-jitsu. I'm still catching my breath, getting ready to rock here. I might be a little extra red, but Michael owns a really cool company, something that myself and a lot of folks that I know in similar industries are going to be interested in hearing about. Michael, your company is called Freedom Builders. Is that right?
Freedom Builders, yep.
And tell the folks what you do at home.
Yeah, so we build out complete online businesses for coaches, creators, educators, and we take care of all the work ourselves. So it's a done-for-you service with a coaching component added in.
And so that's like, if anybody's ever had a online coach or learned, there's a huge kind of, I don't know if I'd call it a blue ocean anymore of these kind of info products online. I personally have had one and been involved in several. I'm currently going through a few right now for learning jiu-jitsu on one, and I'm learning how to podcast on another, and working with a coach on a third. And so is that indicative of who you typically work with? Maybe tell us, who you best serve and kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, really, we can work with anyone that has a vision of monetizing anything online, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a coach and you want to take your coaching business from in person or brick and mortar and you want to create something online, we can do that for you. If you're an educator, if you're a teacher, or some sort of educator in any way, we can take your information and what you're educating people in, and we can transfer that online as well. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, people like authors, right? We're working with an author right now. So, realistically, how many authors can get their book turned into a movie, right? If we're being real, right? Not many. However, every author can turn their book into a digital product, which will take the client or the person going through the experience through a visual representation of your work, which is so great, right? Because most people are visual learners. So now you have this really dope digital product that's a visual representation of your work, which is piggybacking off of your book. So what you've created now is lead magnets, right, to each other. So a $25 book could lead right into a $1,000 or $2,000 or more dollar course. So yeah, it's a great system. And, a lot of people are desiring the remote working situation these days, right? We got used to it during the pandemic, and, we see the benefit of it as well. And really, through building a digital product and an online business, you can work from anywhere. It's a geographical freedom, which is really cool,
Yeah, I was really lucky to have already been doing coaching through Zoom and online products since 2017, and so it was a big leg up when 2020 hit for sure. Tell me a little bit about the team. You guys have graphic designers, you have programmers. Who do you have on the team?
Yeah, it's an amazing team. The team is everything, and what the team includes is experts in copywriting, videography, graphic design, website design, project management. So many brand strategists, launch strategists. Really, we can take your idea, we can conceptualize it into a sequence that makes sense as a digital product or an online course. And then we can take that and we can really transfer it into something that's a visual representation of you, your mission, your vision, and the brand that you want to bring into the world. And then we can create the platform in which you can share that with the world. And it's a powerful system when you put everything together. And then once it's built out, we launch it for you. So we have, launch strategists that we work with, and we specialize in doing organic launches over social media. And we'll also create all the infographics as well. So we'll do the video edits on your reels, IGTVs, YouTube channel, any any kind of video collateral that you're putting out. And then we'll also do all the infographics, all the design on that. So everything is on brand, and we'll tell you exactly what to post and when to post. So you're taking people through a journey of, getting them hyped up one week, opening a wait list one week, and then an open and close cart week as well. And by the time they get to that third week, I mean, there's just people that are so hot and ready to jump into your offer, man, that it's been really powerful.
That's so cool, man. Anytime I can, I like to talk to folks who kind of occupy that Levi Strauss like spot in any given market, right? And so kind of to give a little background there is like, during the gold rush, there were probably many people that made good fortunes, but the people that really stuck around were the Levi's, the people that were actually providing the tools and helping folks go out and mine the gold. And immediately listening to you talk, I'm like, how many people do I know? And I'm probably a little bit, biased, but I probably know conservatively 100 people that are in this space, and all of them would benefit just by talking to you, right? That's so cool, man. I love your business.
Yeah. And it's been, this all started because I did it for myself first.
Sure.
I'm a former online fitness coach.
Yeah.
That had to figure out the hard way how to bring my stuff online, and did it through learning through a lot of mistakes. Some of them are very expensive and some of them are very time costly, And now I'm able to support coaches that are in the same spot that I was in through navigating those sticking points and challenges. So it's a much smoother experience for them.
Well, and congratulations, because you stepped out of the river with the gold pan. About 90 of the people I just mentioned are in the fitness space, right? And so you stepped into one where now it's, I've probably only met one or two people that I would qualify as even close to a competitor of yours. That's so interesting. So you talk a little bit about how you got into it. Tell us your sort of entrepreneurial origin story. Did you always want to be a business owner? Is it sort of a passion, or is it more of a result of, other things that have gone on?
Yeah, man, I started with lemonade stands at 5,
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I've always had the bug. And, my journey led me into different directions and different situations. But, I've been blessed to come back here in this space and been able to be here for years now. But I was in the restaurant industry for a very long time and, really worked almost every position in the restaurant industry. Stayed in the fine dining space, which was such a benefit for me because I'm able to translate what I've learned in customer service, in building rapport, in sensory acuity, and being able to read what people need, and then just going above and beyond for people too. I've been able to translate that into my current business, and that's what we do, right? That's the thing that I'm the most proud of, is that we overcompensate. Like we will support you every step of the way, and we're not going to stop until your vision comes to life. And when I say your vision, I mean the vision that you want, the perfect vision that's in your mind. We will bring that to life, no matter how many revisions we have to do. And then each client that works with us gets their own project manager. So you are literally supported every step of the way. So yeah, the restaurant industry taught me a lot. But, one of the biggest things that it taught me is how to gauge my energy. And when I'm, in situations that take my energy, I now know what that feels like, because that's what I was going through being in the restaurant space. And then when I'm in situations that give me energy, I also know what that feels like as well. So it created this really cool gauge for me, And after about 15 to 20 years in the restaurant industry, I started walking in that building. I'm like, man, something's off here. Yeah. Something just doesn't feel right, And I eventually put my notice in and started pursuing a career in fitness, which is what I always had a passion around. And of course, started one-on-one, brick and mortar, in person, and then eventually, moved that into the online space. And I had fitness programs about 2 or 3 years before the pandemic hit, and people had seen them. Obviously I've been promoting them online and over social media. And then when the pandemic hit, I had a lot of friends that were in the fitness space reach out to me and like, hey man, all the gyms just got closed down, including mine. I can't make money. And I've got to now transition to the online space on the fly. Can you help me? And that's what I started doing. I started supporting my friends. I wasn't charging them. I was supporting them so that they could get, into the online space. And they were making money. One of them brought in like $10,000 in 60 days. And after that, I started realizing like, maybe I've got a skill set in this. And then that's when I turned it into a business that now helps, several coaches.
Yeah. And I think, the word that always, I don't want to say haunts me, but it always sticks in the back of my head. And I've owned a brick and mortar gym for over 12 years. And the word that has always been appealing to me and elusive in some ways is scale. And as soon as I talk to somebody like you, and as soon as I see what you can do, or somebody like you can do for someone who's, let's say, owns a gym, best case scenario, if it's a micro gym with a community, you're 200 to maybe 500 people at the very most, right? Most of those folks that I talk to float between 75 and 150, right? And now you talk to somebody where it's like, if we can just figure out not 500 different conversations, but one conversation and one system and process through automation and through scalability, like you can impact thousands of lives.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just love anything where you can have that kind of scale, especially with retaining core values and mission and stuff like that. That's so cool.
100%, man. Totally agree.
So what is it that you personally do? And what is it that your team does? In other words, did you go out and learn, like, are you a Kajabi guy? Are you a programmer? Are you a copywriter? What's your skill set? What do you like to do? What gives you energy?
Great question. So I started doing everything by myself. It was a one-man show at the beginning, right? Which is an unscalable proposition. So I started building the team slowly. We have over 20 people now that are on the team.
Wow.
But it started with just me and one graphic designer and one website designer. And then we started growing from there. What lights me up, man, is seeing the client's vision come to life, because this is an abstract idea. This is something that's in the mind. So what really lights me up is the creation of, the whole thing. I'm always been into creation and vision and being able to bring something from a thought into tangible reality. Like, I love that process. And then, supporting the clients to do that. So, my biggest role now on the team is talking to the client that has all these ideas in their mind, and they may be jumbled up and they don't know exactly what it may look like as a sequence, and then taking those ideas and bringing them into some sort of sequence that's progressive and makes sense, and builds on the last lesson, and allows the client to go through an experience, right? Because that's what you want. You want your clients to go through an experience of your method or your process, where there's a beginning, a climax, an end, and then at the end, they're salivating for more. So that's what you want to build out in your online program, right? And I have a genius in being able to do that in a way, because I've just been doing it for so long, right?
Sure.
For so many different people in so many different spaces, that I'm able to help them conceptualize that and bring it to life. So that's really my biggest role and one of my favorite things to do now on the team.
Yeah, I always say I'm an entrepreneurial evangelist. And I feel like what you just described is the ability to sort of take in somebody's vision or mission and sort of convert that into, whatever the structure needs to be. How have you gone about staffing a team with folks who are capable of that? Because as I'm going through this process, I've found, this podcast is the very first time, other than we had an info product in my former business, but this is the first art that I've made, like whatever you want to call that, for entertainment and education. And as I'm going through it, I've found that when I have worked with other folks, it's hard to find people that get it. Where they'll like check the box, but they don't necessarily fully understand what it is they're doing. And so back to the question would be, how have you been able to find folks that are able to get it and maybe take it to the next level for your clients?
It starts with me. It starts with my energy. It starts
100%.
with making sure that I'm aligned, because that's what I'm going to magnetically pull in, right? Like attracts like. So if I'm aligned and my mission and my values are in place, and those are the people that I'm going to attract into my space. And if people come in that aren't in alignment, it's going to, they're going to naturally find, weed themselves out, right?
Sure.
So I've been blessed, man, to have just rock stars, come into my space, and we're all on mission, and we're taking care, and going above and beyond for our clients. And that's really like the golden thread that runs through the business, because everything else is easy from there. Right? Like the graphic design stuff, we'll bring it to life for you. But if you want it to look something different in a different way, we'll change it. Easy. And we don't run into that a lot, because we have systems and structures in place that, ask certain questions and put certain parameters in place so that we can nail it, right? But at the end of the day, man, as long as everyone is on mission and the culture, the energy of the culture is let's take care of these clients, everything else is easy.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to look at it. Are you a mission and core values guy? Do you have like an entrepreneurial system that you guys follow, like EOS or Traction or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we have nothing that's specific, but we have discussions about being on mission, right? We have discussions about what we value and what's off energetically. And, we make sure that we're living to that, on every meeting, we go over the mission, we go over the values, and we go over, what the next move is, and making sure everyone's supported.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hound you. I'm just super curious, especially, so you talk about 20 people. And I assume you're all remote, correct? So how do you keep everybody in the same boat? Is it just a daily huddle? Do you guys, it's just meetings, or what's your, I know this is just me being curious. I promise you, I'm not trying to scrutinize you too deeply, but I'm super curious about it. I think you have a super interesting business.
Yeah. So
how to keep everybody on the same page?
Yeah. One of our greatest values is high level communication. So, that's probably number one. Yeah. Our number one value, not only within amongst ourselves, but for the client as well. There's nothing worse, man, than being a client and having something, that's being built. Like imagine building a house or building a business for yourself, brick and mortar. Like imagine if the people doing the work like never talked to you. You had no idea what
Yeah.
was going on. Right. And then all of a sudden there's like, oh, this is delayed and this is and you're like, well, where did this come from? Right. So communication is so important. And
Mm.
that's something that again we value and that we practice on a daily basis. I talk to literally everyone on my team every day, sometimes multiple. My operations manager, I probably talk to her like 30, 40 times a day. So I don't mind the communication piece, man. I love it. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as over communication in my mind.
I agree with that. And I bet just knowing your business, I bet you there's some slick automation and sort of kind of communication cycles in there. That's cool.
Mhm.
So listen, I'm sure we both know some fitness folks in your space that have benefited from your product. I'm sure there's probably some investors and maybe some real estate. Is there a certain category of business that you haven't seen brought into an online info product in a platform that maybe you think would be interesting?
We just built out a course that did really well for a cannabis coach.
Mm.
So it was a coach that uses the plant medicine cannabis to help people, heal emotional trauma and so on and so forth. And that course did a 5-figure launch. So it did really well.
That's great.
Teachers are so my wife is a teacher, so this one is close to my heart, right? But teachers are some of the most crucial people in our society, right? For helping grow our society and making sure that we're staying where we should be. And in my opinion, I think there's an opportunity for teachers to be taken care of more than they're taken care of in our society. And I believe that an online digital product is something that will be able to do that for them, right? So they can start putting their own spin and their own genius into some sort of educational product that they can get out to the world that has their own brand and their own look and all these different things that they're proud of. And now, whether it's supplementary or if it's a full-time thing, like at least it's bringing in another stream of revenue for them and something that they can grow and be proud of and impact the world through too, because now it's not just kids in your community. You're impacting kids everywhere. You can impact kids, around the world, right? Say you're an English teacher. You can impact kids that want to learn how to speak English properly, right? All over the world. You don't have to travel to do it. So teachers are a niche, a space that I'm really curious about what that could look like. And then another one that I'm curious about is authors. Like I had mentioned before, like bringing an author's book into a visual experience, like a movie. These digital products are movies, at least the way we build them, with the video edits and the slide design. Like we do really dope slide design, right? That takes people through not just words and colors, like literally pictures and images to take people through a visual experience of your education, right? So that's been really fun for the author piece as well.
I love
But I haven't
that, man.
seen, there's not one, to answer your question, there's not one that I don't believe will translate into a digital product. No, I think anyone with an idea can turn it into a digital product.
Today's show is brought to you by High Level CRM. High Level is an all-in-one platform designed to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses without the need for multiple softwares or an IT team. Not only does their easy-to-use software allow you to track and manage your leads throughout each phase of the relationship, but it also allows you to build funnels, track stats, and more. Guys, I sat down and added up the cost of software I was able to replace with just one app, and it was over $1,000 per month. Because this is an all-in-one application, I also save a ton of headaches connecting apps and building automations, and the team at Go High Level does a great job of getting you started quickly and easily when you sign on. I cannot more highly recommend these guys. Right now, Spear and Clover listeners get a free 14-day trial of High Level CRM for themselves. Click the link in our show notes to support the show and get started on your free 14-day trial today. I'm super excited that today's show is brought to you by the Global School of Entrepreneurship. Most practicing entrepreneurs cannot take 2 years away from their growing business to attend a full-time campus-based program or spend every weekend away from family and business for a couple of years. Finally, there's an accredited program specifically designed for you to work on and grow your business while completing your MBA. The GSE MBA complements the needs and schedules of someone actively engaged in an entrepreneurial venture while still covering the accredited curriculum expected from any MBA program. The Global School of Entrepreneurship offers a unique offering called the Mastermind to MBA program. It consists of 10 students who work together in a forum-style cohort and meet every other week for a year. The GSE MBA helps you develop skills in critical thinking and strategic planning. Students also develop competencies in leadership, decision-making, and communication with both employees as well as the important stakeholders in your business. You will be exposed to world-class academics and fascinating guest lecturers. You'll work on your business while working in your business. Students are guided by real-world entrepreneurs with decades of experience starting and scaling businesses just like yours. Best of all, I'm beyond proud to announce that the Global School of Entrepreneurship has agreed to offer one Spear and Clover listener a scholarship to join an upcoming Mastermind to MBA cohort. They are looking for someone just like you to bring a unique perspective to the program, and they are accepting applications right now. To learn more and to apply, simply go to www.gse.mba/spear. That's www.gse.mba/spear. Don't miss this opportunity to level yourself up and surround yourself with other like-minded entrepreneurs just like you. Once again, to apply for the GSE MBA Spear and Clover Scholarship, simply visit www.gse.mba/spear. That's www.gse.mba/spear. Today's show is brought to you by Scaling with Media. I mean, literally, like if it weren't for the folks at Scaling with Media, you would not be getting this. Scaling with Media is a truly revolutionary company for any entrepreneur who wants to reach a larger audience without taking on the years of experience necessary to master the required skills. These guys do it all. From helping you develop your creative plan to editing, sourcing content, copywriting, ads management, and way more. Whether you're looking to launch a YouTube channel or podcast, or you just want to scale your business out to more eyeballs, these guys are the absolute best one-stop shop. But that's not all. Right now, Spear and Clover listeners who sign up for their brand launch package will receive a free, that's right, free professional grade studio kit that I'm actually recording right now on. The studio kit includes a professional microphone, stand, lighting, and headphones, and is worth well over $500. Take action now by going to scalingwithmedia.com/spear and claim your free studio kit. Again, that's scalingwithmedia.com/spear, scalingwithmedia.com/spear. Now back to the show. Yeah, I agree with you. I was just curious. I'm going through some jujitsu ones right now, and I bet you could make it even better, but it's been really, really helpful. John Danaher and some other guys over at BJJ Fanatics are doing it. Maybe I got to reach out to them and see if they want to come on the show. That'd be really great. But they do such a good job of articulating and kind of segmenting it. You talk about teachers. Shout out to David Cole. He's actually been a guest on the show. He'll come out at some point in the near future. I've known him for a few years. He was a member of my gym. He just picked up his family and wanted to have his children and his wife live this kind of fun life. And has been living in Asia, and I think he's down in Mexico right now and kind of traveling all over. And he's building an online course for teaching English and for also specifically for English teachers. I will be connecting you two after this call, but shout out to them. I think there's a huge opportunity there. I'll never forget Khan Academy. I'm sure you're familiar with Khan Academy. That got me through school, man. When I was doing my finance undergrad, that got me through everything. That was so helpful. And I'll never forget when I found out that, you know, I think during Obama's tenure was when they got a big endowment to them. I don't know what's happened from it because I graduated and I haven't looked back, but you know, I remember just thinking like, man, this is the beginning. This is the sky's the limit for teaching and scale in big capital letters, right? I think that's so cool.
Totally.
So let's hear a little bit more about you, man. What do you get into when you're not working? What are you passionate about?
Movement. I love to move. I love to be outside. I've got this really amazing lake in the neighborhood that we live in. And it's got this really awesome track around it. So, you know, that's really what keeps me in balance, right? Sure. Is running around that lake, sitting by there, getting some breath work in, getting some mindfulness in. Because I'm in front of the computer a lot, you know, so being mindful of getting outside and being in the sun and getting movement is really important. And of course, you know, I got two boys that live with me, and I got a daughter who is 18 who doesn't. But yeah, you know, being present for them and making sure that I'm supporting them on their journey too is really important to me. So I just taught my son 2 days ago how to ride free on a bike. No more training wheels. So
that's great.
He had a couple hard falls. So I got to have the conversation with him, you know, that we don't track how many times we fall. We track how many times we get back on and ride again. So it was a cool teaching moment as well. But Man, one of those falls, he fell hard. He fell hard, man.
Yeah, I'm just learning that now. Like I've got a 10-month-old in the other room, and I'm just learning now that it's like it's all about how you react at this stage. Like if she falls, and especially if my wife's there, she can't handle it. She's like, and then the baby will cry. But if you're just like, what are you doing over there? And she'll be like, I don't know. Like, this is a question I've thrown a couple of times out there because it's one that's kind of occupying my mind right now. And that is, we're entrepreneurs and we've got kids. How does your entrepreneurship or your view of the world, how does that impact the way that you're raising your kids?
Man, I think that the best way to raise a child is to walk the talk. And, they're very observant. They're watching everything that you do, and they pick up on energy more than words. I mean, words are only 7% of the communication process, right? Physiology and tonality are the rest. So 93% of communication is the energy in which you're communicating through. And I think, children pick up on that better than really any other stage in the human experience. So just being that inspiration for them by how I'm showing up is important. And then, the rest we can figure out on the fly,
Yeah. That's interesting, man. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot with ours. And, I see when I go to jujitsu, I see sometimes the kids are there, especially during spring break or in the summer. And I see the parents sitting there waiting. And I'm like, man, it'd be cool if you were out here with them, And so that's the plan for me, is to be out there with them if I can and go from there. That's super cool.
Yeah. Having my sons watch me work out or, and one of the biggest reasons I created Freedom Builders, like really like the big spark for me was, and I'll never forget this. There was one week that it took me 80 hours to build out a sales page, 80 hours, because it wasn't in my zone of genius.
Yeah.
And there was so many starting and stopping, and this doesn't look good and that doesn't look good. Right. And it was like intentional, 8 days, 10-hour days building out this page. And the entire time I was building out this page, my son would be coming up to me and say, hey, Dad, you want to go play? Hey, Dad, you want to go throw a football? Or hey, Dad, you want to go on a bike ride? And I had to tell him no every time because I was so in it, right? Trying to build this thing out, right? And, also, my wife, hey, let's go have a date night. Or my friends, hey, let's go hang out or whatever. And just constantly having to tell them no because you're so overwhelmed, you're so stressed, you're so frustrated doing something that's not in your zone of genius. And I told myself after that day, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I'm not doing this again. I'm now delegating anything that is not in my zone, right? And I'm staying in my zone. And that's really like what started, the whole steamroll of building this team to help me build these things out.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, my experience has mirrored that as well. It's when I bring on folks to take those things that drain my energy off of my plate, that all of a sudden you feel rocket supercharged, right? Totally. The other thing too is having sort of non-negotiables, man. I build things into my calendar every single week, things with the family, things with friends, things for fitness and sort of mindfulness and things like that. On my calendar, it's very limited these days. Yeah. So I admire that you're doing kind of what it sounds like the same thing. If I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, I think I do X, Y, and Z. I think maybe a course would be for me. What are some steps? Do they contact you right away? Do they, kind of get an outline and really come and really do the work on understanding their own vision and stuff first? At what stage of this process are you going to be the best partner for somebody?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about what you want to bring to life and where you're at from a business standpoint, right? What season are you in? Do you have proof of concept? Do you have something that can go out there where there's a market for it and that people actually want it? And if you don't, that's okay. We go through a whole market research phase in the build out process because, like I said, we don't only do the actual work in the way of like being an agency, but there's a whole coaching process behind this. So we help you with marketing, with positioning, with market research, getting proof of concept, like all the different things. So really, we can support anyone that's at any stage of their journey. But I would say, man, if you want something brought out into the world and you have a vision for something, then go for it. And if you're not sure, have a conversation, right? Have a conversation with someone who has done those things and is further down the road and, maybe able to support you. Totally reach out to me. Like, I'm always down to have a conversation. It's not like a sales thing. Like, I'm literally just always down to have a conversation with people that just want to know. And I do this all the time, by the way. They just want to know if they've got something that they can bring out into the world. And we built so many of them. Like, I know what will work and, what may need more time to develop. Full transparency, I believe anything will work.
Yeah.
However, there's things that do need some proof of concept to see if there's a market available for it because educating is expensive and guessing is expensive. We do neither. We make sure that there's a market by asking, what do people want, right? And we make sure that we don't have to educate them as to why they need it. right? Like when Uber first came into the space, they had to, and this is something that a mentor of mine told me, so don't quote me 100%, but they had to spend millions of dollars educating people on why it's okay to get in a car with a stranger. Like,
I
why is that
remember
okay?
that. Yeah, I remember it was when I was using cabs all the time in Chicago. I
Yeah.
remember Uber coming to Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
that whole education process costs them a lot of money. So you can, that's avoidable. You can avoid that by making sure that there's proof of concept and there's a market for what you want to bring into the space. And the only way to learn that is by asking people that, maybe able to support you.
Okay. I think that's a really good kind of entry into this next question, which would be, if I am somebody that's kind of starting down this path, what are you seeing that's working right now? I think conventional wisdom has been, a few years ago, it was all Facebook ads. And I'm sure that there's still people making money in Facebook ads. I've seen a lot of stuff shift to TikTok and Instagram and Reels and things like that. If somebody was to focus on learning, one or two kind of best practices, particularly for like organic social media stuff, what are you guys seeing working out there?
Yeah, for lead generation purposes.
Yeah.
What we're seeing working the best is having authentic conversations. Sure. Conversations lead to conversions, period. So the more conversations you have that are authentic with people that are in your target audience, right? People you already know would be ideal for your product. The more of those you have, the more sales that you get as a result. What's not working is these big block texts through, direct message saying, hey, I've got this really cool thing for you. Like that, then that's dead. That's just a dead thing, right? But authentic conversations, sending videos, sending voice notes so that they know it's actually you and not like some person, that you hire to reach out for you. That's big as well. And then, just being real with people and having something that they want to buy. Having something that will help them overcome a state of pain or a challenge that they're in. Again, we don't guess, we ask, right? And we ask very directly, like, hey, what are you going through right now? Okay, cool. Where would you like to be? Okay, cool. And we create a product that helps them get from where they are to where they want to go. It's really that simple. And if you don't have that product, then you're not going to build a successful business. And the only way to learn what that product is by asking.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are there any books or anything you'd recommend to somebody thinking about kind of going down this path?
Not really any books, man.
Not really.
That come to mind.
Expert Secrets kind of hits that spot a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many books out there, man. There's not one that really comes to mind that is going to say that's the one, right?
Yeah.
Like, building a story brand is really great. That's a great book. Stepping into the story of, the target audience or the ideal client that you want to bring in. And psychographics are important. Like, people focus a lot on demographics, but psychographics are even more powerful, right? Demographics, name, age, location, so on and so forth. But psychographics are like, what is the story that is playing inside of this person's mind right now, and can you step into that story, right? You want to know your ideal client intimately, right? When I was in the weight loss space and I worked, mainly with women, but for men and for women, when I was in the weight loss space, I knew that my ideal client had a pair of jeans that was hanging in their closet, that every time they walked into their closet and looked at those jeans, there would be this sensation of shame and guilt that would bubble up, because they knew that if they wore those jeans, they would have to unbutton their top button every time they sat down, or their midsection would chafe. Like, that is intimate information. And if you can share that information out into the world in your messaging, right, in a very tactful way, in a way that shows that you care, right? Like, hey, I can help you with this. I can help you overcome this. So you're not feeling this way anymore, feeling this pain that you're feeling, right? If you can share that message better than they can communicate it to themselves, they will automatically believe that you have the best solution possible, because you understand them, because they can relate. There's relatability that's happening there. And a lot of people miss this, man. And, another thing that I'm saying is a lot of people try and sell the vehicle and not the destination. So they're selling all of the deliverables, all the cool things about their program. And, it goes over people's head, because what they really want is like, what's this going to do for me? Is this going to help me overcome this state of pain, right? It's like, trying to sell a vacation to the Bahamas by telling me how cool the plane is. Like, it's just not, you know what I mean? It's just not going to work. We want to know what the destination's like.
Yeah, I'm working with somebody who's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm working with somebody who's learning sales now, and shout out to Jackson Taylor. And he's a killer, but I was explaining to him that at the end of the conversation, the objections kind of are the roadmap to where you went wrong, right? And so if somebody's asking you about, well, how many videos are there and how long are they and what are the topics? And if somebody's asking you about that, they're basically saying like, how much leg room is on this flight? And do I get to book an extra bag, or do I have to pay for that? And it's like, dude, get them to feel what it's going to feel like when they're in Hawaii. Don't let them worry about how the pain, it may come up. Oh, it's a painless flight. We get you there with, I was telling them how, if you watch a United Airlines flight, it's very rarely, showing the leg room or showing the overhead bins. It's very much, seeing a beach and seeing people, having a fancy dinner overlooking the mountains or whatever. And that's all about the destination and not the plane flight. So I could not possibly agree with you more there for sure.
Yeah, you nailed it.
So listen, there's 2 questions that I ask everybody that come on the show. And I'm going to ask those 2 questions to you now. Number 1, if you had access to unlimited capital, how would you profitably grow your current business?
Unlimited capital?
Yep. But it has to be profitable.
Profitable. Gotcha. I would continue to build a team.
Yeah.
Continue to build a team that's all in alignment and on mission, and continue to show up and talk about, our mission, our values, and what we can do to support, the people that we're supporting, that we're helping out, and continue to work on myself, which sounds kind of crazy.
Good. No, that's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody said that one. Like you would go to more summits and more masterminds.
100%.
Like self-improvement.
And then, not just in the business area of life, but also in health and fitness and spirituality and all the different areas of life, I would continue to work on myself, because your business is a reflection of you. And the success of your business is directly tied to how successful you are in, how you feel about yourself. Right. And I think it's very powerful. And it's something that's overlooked by a lot of people. Right.
Yeah.
They're always worried about the outside, but the outside is just a reflection on the inside.
Yeah.
So work on the inside.
Brother, you're talking my language, man. I always think of this. The entrepreneur has 3 chambers in their heart. It's their business, their social and family life, and then their self. And if you put too much blood in one area, you're taking blood from the other. And so I think
totally.
I hate to use the word balance. I really don't. I don't have a better word, but I don't like the word balance. But I do think that too often I get people that I meet or that I'm working with, you're alluding to it here, where it's like, oh yeah, we made this much money and I'm super unhappy and my wife and kids hate me. It's like, well, fuck that. Tyson was on Rogan and he said, he goes, your legacy isn't what people think of you or what you've done. It's what your kids remember you for. And it's just like, man, Mike Tyson dropping wisdom, huh? So the second question, Michael, is if you had to give up any of the current businesses you're doing or have done in the past, and you had to start something totally new, what do you think that might be?
Oof, great question, man. I would start an online and also have it be brick and mortar space that would support people in connecting to themselves through physical fitness, spirituality, and also optimal health, and finding a way to get that out into the world. I think, again, the better you treat yourself, the more your business is going to grow. So assuming I still had the unlimited capital,
sure.
then that's the direction I would go.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's great. And as far as the capital thing, it's funny because in most cases, I believe capital is unlimited. In other words, like a truly great idea with truly great execution typically should never want for capital. Now, of course, there's, all sorts of outlays in CapEx where maybe you need investors and stuff. But, when I think about that stuff, it's like, well, if I was doing a better job, the money would be there, right?
Totally.
It's a
byproduct.
Yeah, exactly. So again, before we wind down, why don't you run down for us again exactly who it is you serve, and then maybe drop any plugs that you have as far as how people can get a hold of you. Obviously, we'll have those links in the notes as well. But go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, if you're a coach in any space, if you're an educator in any space, or a creator has an idea that you want to bring out into the world, then, we can help you bring that idea to life and bring your vision to life, and then give you a platform that you can share the message of that idea through. And we do the work for you. That's the big thing here, because that allows you to protect your time and energy, and also focus on the things that you love to do that light you up, which is typically coaching, or also, revenue generating activities, having those conversations, and bringing sales and revenue into your business.
I love it. And where can they contact you at?
freedombuilders.com. Builders is with a Z instead of an S, but yeah, freedombuilders.com. You can learn all kinds of things on there. And then my IG is Mike G Coaching on Instagram. And like I said, reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, and I'm sure that they will. This has been a great conversation. Michael Gonzalez, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching or listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to show us some love by liking, rating, and subscribing so we can keep making more and better content. If you'd like to support the show and get a great additional content like exclusive shows and even live group masterminds, please head over to patreon.com/Spear and Clover to become a member of the tribe. If you're interested in learning more about how we help entrepreneurs, visit spearandclover.com or message us on any of our platforms. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.